everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and today we're doing a movie review of Batteries Not Included, a Steven Spielberg movie that was made
this is not a Steven
You want to make a
Spielberg
bet?
movie.
Want to make a bet?
It was produced by him, but it was not a movie of his.
He didn't direct it.
Yeah, or write it. So that doesn't count. So, Sophie, what do you think about this movie?
Well, I liked it. I thought it was really entertaining.
Really?
It was had the supernatural in it. I guess the whole question of the whole movie is these little aliens come there to wherever they are, and these people, and they're in desperate need of help. They're going to get kicked out of their house. Their house is, which is an apartment building, and their business they had for 1,000,000 years. They're older people. It's not just them. There's like an artist. There's a pregnant woman. There's an old retired boxer. They're all in danger of losing their home, and they're being threatened. People are coming with baseball bats and breaking things and wherever they are, and entering into their apartments and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, these aliens come, and what's interesting is how did they know to come there? To me, the question just persists through the entire show, and they even ask that. They wonder that. All of them wonder how. And one night, they're really on their last hope. And the restaurant owner, which is Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy, who were married in real life.
They were?
Yes, they were, forever. And they both have passed away.
Oh.
And since then, since the movie was made. And
let's not. There's no review on the floor.
I'm picking stuff up that fell by my feet.
Let's do the review.
Okay, and they're like, I wish somebody could help us. And the wife, Jessica.
I think they used the words that they wished somebody would help them, like as if them saying, "I wish that would happen," triggered these alien UFO things to come. And I would say that, look, it's not the same as Short Circuit. You know, Short Circuit was very different because that robot talked and it had tons more. Well, I guess, I don't know, like, how would you compare their abilities? Because, like, these aliens were able to rebuild an entire building in, like, a night.
Yeah, but they brought other aliens from their planet. You saw that, right?
But that doesn't... They were able to do that. The fact that they were able to do that is just really, really cool in comparison to Johnny Five, who, you know, he had tons of abilities as well. But, like, these were different alien robot creatures, and so it was a more different movie. To me, it was more about the characters who were in the apartment building.
Mm-hmm. And how they dealt with what was happening.
And getting to know them. And I would just say that it's a very chaotic movie. It feels very, very chaotic. It doesn't really feel like a traditional story where you have a beginning, middle, and end. I mean, it kind of does. But it is so chaotic. It is so all over the place. I had to rewind like 30 minutes of the movie. And I don't know if it was just because I was not 100% paying attention, but like, even if I'm not 100% paying attention, I should be able to understand what's going on. And I'm not saying it was like complicated or hard to understand. It was just kind of messy. It was a messy movie. I mean, they were destroying the building themselves. Like, the people in this building, like, they would get mad at each other and, like, knock down walls and knock out windows and things. Like, they were, like, treating it like it's like it's a video game or something. I don't know. It was pretty funny. Well, right, Safi?
There was this developer, and as usual, he's got this big property in mind. He wants to tear everything down, no matter what, and rebuild these it's a city, gigantic skyscraper type plaza buildings, and he gets Muscle to help him do it. So they hire this gang of Hispanic, I don't know what they're supposed to be, but like they're kind of like a gang, kind of, not really, but they're Hispanic, maybe they're Puerto Rican because it's the city, and anyway, and they have baseball bats, and they give them all, the developer gives them some chump change or something. I don't know who that came from, because there was a middleman Muscle guy too, who was in a suit. You have the developer who doesn't have much to do with the place. Then you have the middleman, and then you have
the thugs.
The thugs. And so the middleman, I don't know if the money was from him, because all of them were in danger of getting fired if they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And so he gave them some chump change, and one couple who was originally there, they were an older couple, and they did take it, and they went to live in I don't know, I guess it was like not a nursing home, but a retirement community or something. I can't imagine how much money they would have gotten to get out of their apartments. But anyway, you just have to let your imagination roll with you. But the question did persist for me the entire time, and for them too. But they just didn't care because they needed help, and they accepted it. And these little, it was like little flying saucers that had eyes that were the size of dinner plates, and it was like a couple. And they gave them all, they had to be connected to the electricity, which they all still had electricity, and water, and they had to plug in. And so they even made, quote, babies, like little tiny flying saucers, which would be
weird.
like the size of a teacup.
That's really weird.
A saucer.
But I think it was fun because it felt like something that anyone could make. Like, it felt almost like you're watching a home movie. It was very fun. It had a fun, 80s feel to it. It had an old school sci-fi feel. And it wasn't boring, too.
No, not at all.
There's a lot of science fiction films, and they're very boring. And they're basically just concerned with, like, the mechanics of the robots and the mechanics of how, their science fiction is so accurate and realistic. And, this is a very entertaining movie. It's a good movie for all ages, too.
Yes.
I mean, it's very good in terms of that.
Well, you have these two experienced actors who've been acting for 1 million years, who are a married couple.
Well, and you have the lawyer from Better Call Saul, the long-haired guy.
Oh.
And who was also in the Dream Team. And he's really fun to watch, although he just kind of seems to have the one emotion, kind of, and then...
And I think the African-American guy
who was the best
boxer,
one.
He was great, and I think he might be a football player.
I don't know, you should have looked it up.
I'll have to look him up. In fact, I thought he was for the Chiefs, actually.
At least he's not OJ.
You sounded... No, it wouldn't be the same.
That'd be pretty funny if it was OJ playing that role.
Thankfully it wasn't. But he was very steady. He was like the steadiest person. And it wasn't just that he was a boxer. He was also very mechanically inclined.
He was really quiet, but he had a heart of gold. He was kind of like a stereotype a little bit, but he was a good stereotype. He was a great character. I thought that he was probably the best character in the movie. I think the best part of the movie, or I guess a lot of people would probably think, was when the building was destroyed by one of the thugs. And that guy is sitting there, and then he sees one of the robot aliens is trying to fix up the building by, like, taking individual bathroom tiles and putting them back in place. And it's just so funny seeing this, like, tiny little robot,
these are the cup and saucer size.
This tiny little tile into place, and just like, boop! Just like, it's really funny, because it's like as if, like, it's going to be able to fix the whole thing, and then all of a sudden, all the aliens show up, like thousands of them, and they all fix the building together.
Overnight.
So
In one night.
that was my favorite part, probably. There's not much else to say for it for me. You know, this is one of those movies where you just, you know, you have to watch it and enjoy it.
Yes.
Because
it's just a nice, light,
yeah,
fun, entertaining.
it's rewatchable.
Yes, it's very, because I've seen it. I've seen it like twice before, a long time ago. Just by accident or something, you know, go to the video store, you see something that looks interesting, and you pick it up.
Well, it's
kind of like that.
It's surprising that it's not really a well-known movie, because, like, I mean, I've never heard anyone talk about it before, except for the person who suggested we review it. And then, you know, the title is very recognizable, you know, Batteries Not Included, but I never hear people even talk about this movie, so, you know, I don't understand why. Maybe it's just because it's a good movie and, you know, people don't care about that. They want to watch Marvel movies and see how the next feminazi Marvel movie turns out with, like, the, you know, all that. You know, they don't want to see, like, a good movie with,
it was a good story. That's the thing. Good acting.
Good characters.
Good characters. Good story. And no pretentiousness, no agendas, just there.
And it was colorful.
Yes, there wasn't any, let's make it new.
Let's make it look kind of like it's black and white, but then kind of not make it look like it's black and white. Like, let's just suck out, like, 90% of the color so that 10% of the color is still there. Like, no, it's a very colorful movie. And this just goes to show, like, every movie should be colorful. Every movie should just be, by default, a color-filled movie. No movie should be like how movies look like nowadays. Unless it's like a black and white throwback movie.
Yeah,
you know, that's different.
That's a very specific type of movie.
But this...
the way they're doing everything nowadays is just makes you want to vomit.
You can tell the difference. It's like, it's really a crime what they're doing to these movies.
No, it'll stop one of these days.
I don't think so.
It's an
I don't know.
agenda. It's like a trend, and the trend will go away.
I don't know.
And they'll go back.
There's this thing where, like, you know, you have to do that so they look like, quote unquote, real movies.
Whatever that
means. You know,
means.
like, they look like real movies when you suck the color out of the picture, apparently.
I don't understand that. I mean, as a seller, I don't understand that. People want color.
That's why I really like
everything.
I like the Joker, because the Joker movie did not suck out any of the color. And so, anyways, this movie, Batteries Not Included. What else is there to say?
Well, the ending shot was really cool. And it's really interesting because we've been ferrying back and forth to the hospital. And I saw something kind of like this, but their buildings, because what happened was they set the building on fire. And the one person was from the Muscle Man. He was hired. It was a different guy. And then you have the Puerto Rican or whatever, Hispanic people. And so there's this one Hispanic person and the other guy who's like a bomb maker, a fire starter. And so he said there was nobody left in the building. Well, Jessica Tandy in the story, she has kind of dementia.
Yeah.
And so she is in the
Kinda
building.
like you.
She was making dinner. And she kept thinking that this Puerto Rican guy was her son.
Yeah.
And then she looked at an album. Her son was killed in a car wreck.
Yeah.
And she had forgotten that. And then she realized it wasn't him. He was trying to save her. So anyway, so what ended up happening, the whole building set on fire because there was like a fire starter bomb. Not a really huge explosion, but like a fire starter bomb. And then the Hispanic guy had opened the gas lines, so that, of course, exploded. So he saw her up there, and he was very upset because he didn't want to kill anybody. So he saved her. And so it was completely destroyed. And so at the end, the next day, you see it's all
Safi, we've
rubble.
already gone through that.
I know that, but
you
the
were
picture-
supposed to talk about the picture at the ending,
The
and you've
picture
ended
at
up
the end was
talking about the last 20 minutes of the movie.
what happens is
No, let's talk about the
Overnight,
picture at the
the
end.
picture in the,
picture
end is
at
you
the
have
end
the plaza,
is-
it's all done,
Yeah.
the gigantic skyscrapers, and in the middle was their building and that little cafe.
And it looks like a toy.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
looks
it's
like a miniature.
so small. And we kind of saw a little bit of that by this hospital. It was an old house, probably turn of the century, maybe the 1880s, in the midst of the gigantic hospital buildings and hospital campus. And you see that every so often. But this was very stark, a very stark contrast.
I think that the thing that I really wanted to see in the movie, and I know that they probably wouldn't have done this because it was a family movie, but I really wanted to see like the developers get murdered by the aliens.
Oh God!
Like,
Wasn't that
to
kind
see
of movie?
to see the aliens like at the end, like maybe because at the end the developer says that his plans are unchanged, and so they could have had like a part where they all try to come back again, and then the alien robots, they're like, oh, you want to come back again? Oh, here's what's going to happen now. And they all pull out their flamethrowers and their laser guns, and they just murder these developers and
Oh,
just like
God.
wipe them off the face of the earth. Like that's what I wanted to see, but the ending was still satisfactory because they were still in their building.
Well, see, when the
So-
aliens put the building together, they left intact and added to its original decor and outside looking pieces that weren't there before. They maybe enhanced them, and the building looked even better than what it was.
Yeah,
And so it when we looked just at that building,
it looked
and
brand new.
Yeah, and the cafe. So they couldn't really, and it was done in one night. And so that was like a big mystery, and they couldn't explain
It's
it.
almost kind of like those reality shows, you know, where you have the business and it's failing, and then the all the people who work there come back the next day, and the host of the show says, "Here, look, I fixed your building up," and he changed all the stuff on the outside and the inside, and they remodeled it,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
like that type of thing, like
yeah.
you know, Kitchen Nightmare.
But this was like, this place was in a rubble.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and talk about, even though we're talking about none of the color was sucked out, it was the city where there were buildings that were all destroyed, and the rubble, it was, bricks and all this crap on the ground, but it still managed to be colorful.
I would say too, and I know
It wasn't fake
it's very
looking.
colorful.
It looked like a natural environment.
It doesn't look like a terrible, shitty picture like nowadays. But also, I would say that, I've seen the Twilight Zone movie once or twice, and I really hate that movie. I kind of feel like this movie is like a true Twilight Zone movie, because it's very, like, reminiscent of, like, a funny, light-hearted Twilight Zone type of episode. Like, all the characters, all the different things that happen, the robot aliens. Like, I really think that this movie, it shouldn't be called Batteries Not Included. It should be called The Real Twilight Zone Movie, because it feels more like the Twilight Zone to me than the Twilight Zone movie felt like the Twilight Zone to me.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that,
Yeah, I
Safi?
think so. I've seen the Twilight Zone movie a few
Ew.
times too. Not
The
recent.
one
Not
where
recently.
the
Guy
one
got
where the
killed.
director had all those people get murdered, and then he pretended like it was an accident.
That's not very nice.
It's true.
Oh, don't,
and so-
you gotta watch out. You're going to get sued.
I don't care.
Well,
so-
I do. I can't pay for it.
I can't pay for it, so I don't care. So this movie was really good. I don't know what to give it in terms of food, because Safi hasn't given her food rating yet.
Well, I just give it a good piece of chocolate cake and some vanilla and chocolate ice cream to go with it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just a fun, happy, going from the worst to the best, and very endearing. And it's a good little movie.
Yeah, I would say that, unlike the Twilight Zone movie, nobody ended up getting killed in this movie. So I would like to give this movie a great review. I would like to give it... there was this one diner that we went to in California. Safi didn't get to go because she had diarrhea.
I was very sick.
She had a bad day because she got coconut water and something about it made her really sick, and it interacted with her medication, and it was pretty hilarious.
It's sad though because they went to a really good diner.
She didn't get to go, and we went to this really good diner, and they had all the classics. They had burgers and fries and shakes. So
Southeast of Yosemite.
I think I can't remember exactly, but I think I had a cheeseburger, fries, and a chocolate shake.
Yeah.
And it was really, really good.
Perfect.
It was just like you'd expect. And it's really nice that there's still diners like that around, because that's how it should be. There should be these old places that are still around everywhere. It shouldn't be where they all get torn down. The people who tear them down should be murdered.
Marco!
I'm serious.
Oh, that's just
I'm
ridiculous.
not. Well, why? They're terrorists.
Shouldn't say anything.
They're
like
terrorists. They tear down historic buildings. That's terrorism.
that. Yeah,
And so,
we're tired of that, I'll tell you.
this apartment building, it was great. The message of the movie was great. It feels like they wouldn't make a movie like this anymore, too. Because, this movie, it's so unconventional in terms of it doesn't really have a main character. It has, a whole cast of characters, and the plot is very, all over the place, and it's really, really good. It's fun. I would recommend it, and I'm glad that we watched it, because it was one of the better movies that we've seen this year so far, and I hope that it will be one of the best movies of the year, because it deserves it.
Yeah.
Safi?
It does. So, anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. If you've seen this movie, what did you think of it? Have any more suggestions of movies that would fall into this category? And that's it. And goodbye, everybody.
Bye!